Hello everybody, my name is Parker, and this is my first video on Parker Coleman Sports, YouTube channel me and my dad made. My dad's really cool. You should check him out on Instagram at Seldom Used Reserve. But enough shameless plugs. I wanted to do the AL West recap in the MLB, because I think that the MLB, their most interesting division is the AL West. So I thought that I'd recap the games, news, all that good stuff, and all the players. So without further ado, let's go. First thing is, Angels and Tigers were playing in Detroit. Their series was tied at 1-1, and the Angels wanted to try and get the series win because they've been struggling recently. But we had a few interesting things go on in this game. First one is Albert Pujols became the 5th player ever to get 2,000 RBIs. Now, he only had 1 RBI this game, but it's the one that really counted, as only Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Alex Rodriguez, and Cap Anson have more RBIs than him. Barry Bonds didn't reach 2,000 RBIs. Lou Gehrig didn't reach 2,000 RBIs. And what's surprising about Bonds is he had steroids. You could have replaced his blood with steroids. That's how much steroids were in his system. But Pujols still had more RBIs than him. Pujols, I think, might be one of the most underrated players in the history of baseball, because it takes a special person to get 2,000 RBIs. And of course, I will admit he is overpaid right now. I mean, it wasn't smart for the Angels to sign him to like that $100 million contract or however much it was. But think about it. He has won 2 World Series with the Cardinals. And sure, he did talk about loyalty, but it's not like he went to the Cubs or anything. He's playing for the Angels right now. And he is declining. But he is one of the most underrated players, I think. Because usually when I go to SportsCenter, besides last time I went to SportsCenter because Albert Pujols got his 2,000th RBI, but usually when I go to SportsCenter and the Angels, they're recapping an Angels game, I never hear about Albert Pujols. I never hear, unless he reaches a milestone. Usually they just talk about some guys too much. Like, they talk about Tim Tebow if he breathes. And he hasn't really done anything. But Albert Pujols, he never really gets talked about. And I think it's a little bad because Pujols, he is maybe top 50 greatest of all time. Actually, no, baseball's been around a lot. Let's go top 75. He's top 75 to top 100 of all time because he has more RBIs than some of the greatest players ever. And that's not the only thing I'm basing it off of. He did help the Cardinals win 2 World Series. And if I do have time, I'll make a whole video on him. And I have a lot of video ideas. And that's what happened with one of the things that happened with the Angels and the Tigers. The next thing, Shohei Ohtani. He started playing the first game of the Tigers and the next game of the Tigers. And he didn't do that well. First game, he went 0 for 4, I believe. Next game, he went 0 for 3. But Ohtani got his first 2 hits this season, as he went 2 for 4. I always thought that Ohtani was a little overrated. They were acting like he was going to be Babe Ruth or something like that. But he did do pretty well. And I think that Mike Scioscia made a huge mistake in rushing him coming back. Because he, I honestly I think the Angels started to shut him down for the rest of the season. And I thought that because he had a hurt UCL, I'm pretty sure it was. And usually don't want anyone, especially a pitcher. I know he wasn't pitching. Usually don't want anyone to play on that. But good news for Ohtani, he did get his first couple hits today. And the Angels got a good 13-0 win. And the last thing about this Angels 13-0 win is that Felix Pena, he pitched 7 great innings out of the bullpen. And I believe that this was a pretty quality relief appearance for Felix Pena, who didn't really do the best last year, I believe, when he was with Los Angeles. But Felix Pena, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits given up, no runs given up, 7 strikeouts, no walks, no home runs given up. And he had a pretty good solid day. They probably only took him out because he was reaching a lot of pitches. He did get the win, as he is now 2-1. But the Angels, a very good win over Detroit. Our next thing is that the Oakland Athletics, who got a no-hitter, or Mike Fiers got a no-hitter earlier this series, but that's not what we're going to talk about. The second thing is that the Athletics lost 3-0 to the Reds, and it was pretty poor showing by the Athletics. And my opinion on the Athletics is that they did well, and I think now the fans probably have some high expectations because they won like 90 games last year. But I honestly think that the Athletics, who are 5th in the West, they aren't going to do well. Their offense is sometimes lackluster, as proven by last night. And if you remember in the Mike Fiers no-hitter, the Athletics only scored 2 runs, and they won 5-4 the other day. So it's not like they're killing it. Tanner Roark for the Reds went 6 shutout innings. You have 2 walks and 3 hits. He won the game. The loser, Chris Bassett, went 7 2/3 innings. He took the loss, and he went longer than the pitcher who took the win. I feel like that says a lot on how pitching wins and stuff like that aren't the most important stats. Bassett got his first loss of the season. He went 7 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs. He did strike out 9 though. That was what's pretty good about. Might be one of the good parts of his start. I don't know if there's anything good about taking a loss, unless you're tanking. But my opinion is he did have a really good start. I mean, he gave up a few too many hits, but that's gonna happen from time to time. Raciel Iglesias, he got the save, his 7th save. He's the Rays closer. Astros almost picked him up last year. I thought that could have been important. He gave up a hit, a walk. He won an inning, and he struck out 1. So a lot of ones. But very bad offensive day for the Athletics. There's not really a lot more to report on here. Jurickson Profar didn't get a hit. Matt Chapman didn't get a hit. Kendrys Morales didn't get a hit. Neither did Josh Phegley. So, in my opinion, just a pretty slow-paced game for the Athletics. And that's all on the Athletics and the Reds. Okay, our next thing to talk about is the Yankees and the Mariners. Remember, this all happened yesterday. Just keep that in mind. Yankees won 3-1. A few things happened. First of all, D. Gordon, he got hit, and he sort of got mad. He said, if you can't throw that pitch, if you're going to hit someone, then don't throw it. Which actually sounds pretty reasonable, but it's not like it was... I know it's not the first time he's gotten hit, and it's not going to be the last time. But he was just sort of seemed upset about it. And the next thing was that the Mariners have been in a big slump lately. They started off 9-2, 10-2 around, and they're now 20-20. They have been not doing well. And I remember everyone was, not everyone I should say, but most people were like, oh, the Mariners are going to win the World Series. But what I thought was that you got to give them time. This is the Mariners. They have a legacy of failure. They won 116 games in 2001, and they still lost in the ALCS. So I have to just... I started to think, like, there's no way that they're going to keep on keeping on. And especially, you could tell, because, they had 2 hits yesterday, and their 1 run came in the 9th inning. The Yankees, they've been doing pretty well for themselves. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the Mariners shouldn't have lost this game and should have gotten more than 2 hits. Well, they should have gotten more than 2 hits, but with how good J. Happ has been playing recently, you can't really... I want to say you can't blame them, but it was kind of expected. Like, I saw J. Happ and I instantly thought, oh, Mariners probably going to lose. And what I thought was that the Seattle bullpen pitching wasn't that good. The bullpen pitching wasn't that good, as Connor Sadzek, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, he's really what got them away from the game. I mean, if he hadn't given up that single to Giovanni Urshela, then and assuming that Domingo Santana still hit his home run in the ninth, it would be a 1-1 ball game. So it really just goes to show how important these bullpen pitching is, because if he doesn't give up that single, it's 1-1, and the game still might be going on. A few things about the Mariners. I think that the Mariners, as a whole, they're just a huge mess. They haven't made it since the playoffs since 2001. And what I noticed is that they usually start off good. Like, think about last year. They started off great. Sure, their run differential was a little suspect. They started off great. But then they unraveled. They did have a few injuries, like Gershon Batista, Wade LeBlanc, who was a pretty key starter, Hunter Strickland, who isn't that bad, Sam Valala, I hope I pronounced that right, who was one of their big pickups. People were excited that they picked up Tui Valala, and Dylan Moore is injured, Kyle Seager's injured. They're really facing a lot of injuries, in my opinion. I mean, are those people a lot like MVP type players? No, but you want your players that you originally wanted on the 25-man roster to be in the game. And also, speaking of injuries, Edwin Encarnacion, he played second base yesterday. He almost got hurt, but he played second base for the first time in his career. And the big confusion with the Mariners is that people are wondering where they're going. Like, because they traded away Diaz, they traded away Cano, they traded away quite a few other good players, but then they go out and try and get they did get Edwin Encarnacion, and Encarnacion, he's really good. So I believe that they really need to figure out where they're going, because missing the playoffs for like 18 straight years hurts. But it's going to be longer if they don't stop trading away their good players. Like, they also traded away James Paxton, someone who I forgot to mention. And speaking of which, they did trade James Paxton to the Yankees. Speaking of the Yankees, and they just really had a bad offensive night, and it was probably pretty hard to see. Mike Leake got the loss through 7 innings, 6 hits, gave up 1 run. He only struck out 2. On the other side for the Yankees, J. Happ sort of dominated them. He went 5 innings, gave up 1 hit, 7 strikeouts. He did walk 3. But the Yankees bullpen is what I think shut them down. Adam Ottavino, Tommy Kahnle? I'm sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce that. And Zach Britton. They threw 3 scoreless innings. All of them threw 1 inning apiece. Where no one got on base besides when Adam Ottavino walked a guy. So the Yankees bullpen is pretty quality, and with a bullpen like that, you can sort of see why the Mariners lost this game. Now, Domingo Santana did get a home run off of Chapman, but Chapman didn't blow the save. And that's what's important. Mariners continue to slump as they lose 3-1 to the Yankees. And for our final segment of the day, Astros-Rangers, the Lone Star Series, the Silver Boot matchup. Whoever wins gets the Silver Boot. Whoever wins the season series gets the Silver Boot. I know that because I'll admit that I'm an Astros fan, but I will try my best to be unbiased as possible. I know there are a lot of people who are certain fans of teams, and they're trying to be unbiased, and I will do the same. So, the Astros had a pretty, I don't want to say lucky, but they had a pretty good night. Someone who I think is very underrated, is Wade Miley. Miley, he's been pretty good. And what I mean by pretty good is he hasn't had a start since last year that has given up 3 or more runs. And assuming the Astros don't have a lackluster offense on the day, The Astros, with their great offense, Altuve, Springer, Correa, and Brantley, the Astros are definitely going to win a Wade Miley ball game unless their players are in a slump. Miley, what I've noticed is that he's able to go a good around 5 2/3, 6 inning game, and then they hand it over to the relievers. Last night, he did pretty well. He went six strong innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts, and walked 2 people. He also got his 3rd win. So, in my opinion, Wade Miley is one of the few underrated players in the MLB. Underrated starters, I should say. Now, I'm not saying he's all-star-like, because I know a lot of people who should be an all-star above Wade Miley. But I just think that Wade Miley deserves a little more recognition, which is my opinion. George Springer hit his 13th home run, speaking of Astros offense, as he's been on a pretty good start to the season. As he's batting .301. His on-base percentage is .386. Slugging is .623. And his OPS is 1.009. And he has 13 home runs, 33 RBIs, speaking of RBIs. And he has done pretty well for himself. This is a former World Series MVP. He started off a little bad in the World Series, but then he shot up, which is what I think is happening. Former Astro, who's now on the Rangers, Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence was a former Astro, played with them for a while when they were tanking. Hunter Pence hit a 2-run bomb, his 6th home run of the year, and that's what got the Rangers a 2-1 lead. That's when Miley looked like he was preparing to face a loss. But the Astros pulled a rabbit out of their butt, and they ended up getting the win. But here's what else. Bregman hit a sac fly. That tied the game in the 5th. And then Josh Reddick got a single. Tied the game. Astros got the lead in the 6th. And that leads me to Mike Minor's stats. He got the loss. He threw 5 innings. Gave up 7 hits. 3 runs. 5 strikeouts and 3 walks. I'm not gonna say it was a great start by Minor, but it was a pretty good start. With how many hits and how many walks he gave up, he did pretty well for himself, because he only gave up 3 runs. But an important base-loaded walk in the bottom of the 8th, as that got the Astros a 4-2 lead, and then Pandemonium, I want to say, would start in the next inning. Oh, by the way, Ryan Presley. Dude deserves to be an all-star. I thought I should get this out of the way before I talk about the wild 9th inning in Houston. Dude deserves to be an all-star. He has been on another level with the Astros. He hasn't given up a run this year. And it's not like he's pitched 1 or 2 games. He's pitched 14 games, hasn't given up a run this year. His whip is 0.5. He had a 0.60 whip last year with the Astros and a 0.77 ERA with the Astros. He has like a 36 game scoreless streak, or scoreless outing streak, something like that. So I was going to say, MLB fans, Ryan Presley, all-star. I think he should be an all-star. I think he's really underrated as a pitcher, and I think he's sort of disrespected as a pitcher because he's not really known. But after I get that out of the way, now let's go to the crazy stuff. Crazy stuff was, so coming into last night, Roberto Osuna, he's 8 for 8 in saves. This is a save situation, by the way, because it was a 2-run game. And he gives up a walk to Shin-Soo Choo, and we figure it's okay. Then Elvis Andrus singles, and it's 1st and 3rd. And I was watching this game, and I was like, oh crap. Osuna's going to blow his first save of the season. Then Nomar Mazara struck out, and I got some good... I felt a little better, because I thought double play, and it will be end ball game, or a ground out, or a sacrifice fly, and you'll have 2 outs, and it's only a 1-run game. No harm, no foul. A little bit of harm to Osuna's ERA, but he has like a 0.59 ERA or something like that. He can handle it. But Hunter Pence, I almost had a heart attack when I saw this, because Hunter Pence, he swung hard, and it was a great hit ball. I'll say this, it was a great hit ball. But Josh Reddick, we need to call the police on him, because he robbed Hunter Pence of a home run. He robbed the Rangers of a lead. That was a heck of a play. And that saved probably the Astros from losing the game. Defensive replacements are super important. Most people are like, oh, defensive replacements. Why do they got to do this? Or whatever. But I say defensive replacements are really important because Reddick's in right. And say Springer moves. And this isn't a knock on George Springer. But what if Springer doesn't move? What if Hinch says, no, we'll keep Springer at right? What if he doesn't move and that home run, Springer makes a good attempt, but he doesn't catch it? So that's just something to think about. Afterwards, Joey Gallo, Mr. Strikeout Walk Home Run. He bats like 205, and he has like 15 or 16 home runs. He struck out. Astros got the 4-2 win. Astros have been sort of struggling against the Rangers. They've already been to Arlington twice, which is a little weird, and they lost 2 out of 3 both times. But I say the Astros had a pretty good win. Jose Leclerc, one of the good Rangers pitchers, he did throw 31 pitches, so he's definitely not coming into this game if it's close. I know I say great. I know he has a 6-run ERA, but I say great because he was pretty good last year, but he's sort of on the decline. It's like he's reached the top of the hill. It's snowing, and he's going up. He's reaching the top of the hill, and now he's sliding down. That's really what's been happening. Is he has a 6.91 ERA, a 1.95 WHIP. I know you're probably confused why I say great, but he was pretty good last year, and he was the closer coming into this year. And it was pretty. It's pretty hard to see somebody do that, especially since he almost messed up against the Astros last time they played. But it was a pretty interesting game, I think. Astros won 4-2. They're going to try and take the 4-game series. And yes. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching today. And that's all that's going to be said about today. My name is Parker, and I thought of doing a YouTube channel. I had a YouTuber named SDC who I watched a lot. Go subscribe to him. He hasn't posted recently, but he liked to post videos of what happened yesterday in the NBA. And now I didn't want to fully take his idea because I like this idea and I thought it should just be his. So I thought, why not do a baseball channel? But the difference between the NBA and the MLB is that there's always going to be 14, 15 games in the MLB, unless it's Thursday or it's the playoffs. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to do 14 or 15 games each day, so I thought, why not just do the AL West? I'm an Astros fan. I know a few fans of AL West teams at school who might want to watch this. I was like, yeah, why not do the AL West? And also, I think it's the most interesting division in baseball because I've got the Astros who are trying to come back as a World Series champion. The Rangers who are sort of surprising everyone and not completely doing bad. I mean, they're one game under 500, so you can't say that they're doing really bad. You got the Angels who are in a weird position because they have Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, who I talked about a lot today. And I think that this is an interesting division. The Athletics, who are probably wanting another series, and they probably will at the trade deadline try and trade people or trade for people. And then they have the Mariners, who are always good in the beginning, it seems like, but are always bad at the end. And I know it's a little harsh, but it's true. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I do appreciate you tuning in, as this is my first time. Sorry if I made any mistakes. If you have a suggestion for me to do down below, or comment down below, excuse me. If you have a suggestion of a video or something I should do to make myself sound better, or just make the video better. Make the video viewing experience better. Like if I talk too low or too high, or I move around too much, stuff like that. Because I would like to see what you guys think, because I always want to do stuff, but most people don't give me a lot of input. So I'm like, hey, got a YouTube channel? I'm going to listen to the comments. I'm going to read everyone's comment. If I like them, I'll like them. That's kind of redundant. But anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Parker. I am signing off for now. again, also last thing, I'm going to have an intro and an outro probably sometime soon. I mean, this is like my first weekend, so I'm just filming everything and I'm putting it down, editing together, get some footage of the games, all that stuff. So my name's Parker. Thank you for watching.